Hey there, this is David Harris from the 2016 CSCCA conference here in Fort Worth, Texas, the Strength Performance Network. I have an opportunity to talk to Jeff Connors from Eastern Carolina University. Jeff, thank you very much for joining us.
Well, I really appreciate that. This is my 16th year at East Carolina, and spent 10 years at Carolina, so been 26 years in the state of North Carolina, and I'm planning on retiring there sometime in the future as well.
Now, you were telling me earlier that you've never had an assistant or GA job. You've always been a head coach. That's pretty unique. To explain that, how that happened?
I was kind of fortunate. I was coaching high school, and I had an opportunity to move from coaching high school and get involved with the wrestling program at Bucknell University because I was coaching wrestling at the time as well and football. And Bucknell gave me an opportunity to basically start a strength and conditioning program there. And that was back in around 1988 somewhere. 88, 89, I don't remember exactly, but so, we had success in getting the strength and conditioning program going, and at the same time, I was also the recruiting coordinator for wrestling and helping to coach wrestling there as well. And so I just came in and took over the program as like the pseudo strength coach, and then I became kind of the head strength coach and the only strength coach. And then we went from there, and then in 91, I got the opportunity to come to East Carolina University.
So with your program in East Carolina, what is your staff like there? And I know you mentioned that all of the programs actually follow one philosophy, which also seems a little bit unique. So could you talk a little bit about how your staff's organized and the philosophy that you use?
We're under one methodology, and actually when I came back to East Carolina from North Carolina, at North Carolina we had, I guess you could say, separate weight rooms. We had an Olympic director of Olympic sports, a weight room for baseball, a weight room for Olympic sports, a weight room for football, and also for basketball. So at East Carolina, we have one facility. It's about 24,000 square feet. I was very excited about that because I'm really big on speed training, and we have a 60-yard 5-lane track within the facility and also a 40-by-50 agility area. And so basically what we do is we keep everything under one methodology. I have 5 full-time assistants and 2 GAs, and that works very well for us because we have 400 athletes. So it's a little unique in that we just have one facility and we're all under one methodology. And but it works very well. We help each other, and so I think we're actually saving the university money and saving the athletic department money in relationship to the way we have it set up.
From a nutrition standpoint, how about that? How do you integrate that into your programs?
Well, of course, we have things available in the facility. We're in the process. We have a new football coach who's come in, Scotty Montgomery, and he's very much in tune with the nutritional aspect of things. So I think we're in the process of upgrading and moving toward a full training table. And also raising some money and providing more food products for our athletes as well. So East Carolina is more or less in the beginning phases in relationship to what we had at North Carolina. But North Carolina, we had to develop some things too. We ended up with a brunch and also a dinner, and that worked out very well there. And I was there with Butch Davis, who brought in a couple nutritionists and also kind of revamped the chef staff. And and I think that our athletes really learned to appreciate that, to where we didn't have to actually crack the whip and provide consequences if you didn't show up for training table. So I think that's the same road we want to go down at East Carolina as well.
Can you talk a little bit about how you start with an athlete when they first come into your program as a freshman, getting them to feel comfortable with the philosophy that you use? Talk to some coaches that break it down to the very basics from the very beginning, almost starting over. Other coaches who have a fresh specific track, for example. What do you do to make sure that fundamentally they're ready to progress and make the gains they can while you have for the next 2-3 years?
Well, I wrote a book a couple years ago, and I'm writing another book, and a big part of this book is my, I guess you could say, philosophy, or what I believe over the last 30 years. I believe in when freshmen come in with the generation we're dealing with. I really believe that they need about 2 months of intense education and life skills. And so the training and life skills, if it was up to me, I'd redshirt everybody. because I've seen too many kids go by the wayside over the years for bad decisions. And this is something that we still see and still experience. And, we spend a lot of time with these guys. As a strength and conditioning coach, it hurts when you lose somebody because you spend so much time developing them. So I'll just put that out there out front. I really believe that, we need to change and we need to do something a little bit different so we can keep these kids around. The other part of that is, when you bring someone in the weight room, whether it's, football players come in second session summer school. The other guys have already been there, since around mid-May. So you have to have two separate programs. Actually, I like to keep them together in one group. I don't really like to mix them right away. Obviously, you're going to spend a lot of time teaching them technique, teaching them how to run. Some of the guys are going to come in the door, and it's a little shocking because many of them will not have been trained, particularly their lower body, and they'll be somewhat deficient in relationship to the technical aspects of sprinting, the technical aspects of lifting. And so I think that you have to spend a lot of time with them so they can perfect the movements where what they do in the weight room is safe. So you can have a progression of teaching with each exercise. We use a lot of free-form, multi-joint, closed chain movements, and those require a lot of teaching. And then we also are going to teach them how to move the weight with the intent to be fast, because we do a lot of work with tendo units. And we like to give our guys a lot of feedback. So we give our guys a lot of feedback with tendo units. That works well with us. And we also give them a lot of feedback with regard to their full sprint work and also their bounding through the Zephyr Bio modules.
So in addition to using that data to specialize the progression or the program for an individual athlete, do you also use it for things like helping to encourage competition in the weight room as well, in terms of, all the athletes are pretty competitive? Is that another way that you utilize it?
Well, what we do is when we test and evaluate our athletes, we put them in testing teams. And so we either have a draft or we assign the teams. Sometimes we assign the teams to make the teams more even. That's what we did this past winter. And so the first 4 teams out of 12 teams, we give them trophies. And even the injured guys can participate because we'll take the first, I think we take the first 8 scores. If we have 12 guys in a group, we take the top 8. So you can still be injured and also contribute to the score for your team. So that's one way that we make it competitive, and that works very well for us. And we also have a competitive event of some sort at the end of each workout. We'll pick one or 2 guys to go against each other, and that helps to basically get the enthusiasm going, and that's the way we like to finish our workout. We want to have a strong start and a strong finish every day.
When you look back on an athlete, freshman year to senior year, how do you gauge success? How do you look at that athlete and say, yeah, we succeeded in taking them where we wanted to go? Strength program.
One of the things about our program is we believe that we want to get you faster. And if we think we get you faster, and we know we get you faster, then we believe that everything else that we do in our program basically is in line. So when we test 40s, for instance, we test under the same exact conditions every single time. Same people timing. We're on a Mondo surface. We have the same shoes. We use track shoes, but not steel in the shoes. And basically, we want to see some progress there. And I believe if we see progress there, then we can trace it back to our multi-jump system, what we do with flexibility and range of motion, and what we do with strength training, targeting the muscle groups to overcome inertia. And, of course, we train total body, but at the same time, we really want to emphasize and isolate even a lot of the small muscle groups that help you to overcome inertia. So we want to be very strong in the hips, and we also want to make sure that we have great elastic response. So what we do in relationship with what we might call our total program, actually there's a lot of emphasis on speed.
And you've been in this industry a long time, had a really successful career. When you're talking to some of the younger strength coaches out there, what advice do you have for them in terms of how to progress their career and achieve coaching opportunities and hopefully maintain?
Well, I think you have to get out there and you have to seek great internships, great mentors, and also move from there to a grad assistantship. I think there's a progression. I think following that progression is the best way to go because you'll get exposed to more great coaches out there. And then at some point, you have to determine what your weaknesses and strengths are. And wherever your weaknesses are, or whatever you have a passion for within the realm of strength and conditioning, you may want to seek even further the people that have knowledge in those areas. And that's what I did. I've been traveling all over the country for 20 or 30 years now, trying to stay on the cutting edge of speed development. And that's really where my methodology comes from, is all I've learned over that time, and how it affects our total program.
It's definitely an industry where all the coaches seem to want to help each other in terms of progression. So you're no different in that regard.
I think we have a great group of master strength coaches who are willing to help each other and also help the young strength coaches. And so, I believe that if a young person can identify those individuals, that's really the best way to go, because there's no substitute for practical experience in this profession, in my opinion.
Jeff, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. It's Jeff Connors from Eastern Carolina University.